Paladin Boot Camp. Alright, first for the Holy Paladin Boot Camp, I'm just going to start going over all the Paladin stats, abilities, masteries, and everything. Now I'm going to go into more detail about what each spell does. And then I'm going to give a demonstration. I'm going to be doing Proving Grounds for one demonstration. And then I'm going to be explaining everything I'm doing as I'm doing it. And then I'm probably going to do a Heroic Dungeon. If anyone wants to join me, you just whisper me and we all can just go together. But just going to start first. Holy Paladins, thing that makes them different than other healers is they use Holy Power as a resource. And Holy Power basically is a resource that's gained through certain spells. I'll explain which spells those are as I'm going through the spells, but it allows you to cast spells and it doesn't cost mana to use Holy Power. And a Holy Paladin's Mastery, which you get at level 85, actually adds on to all healing. It puts Absorb for whatever percent your Mastery is, and it affects almost all heals. Add that Absorb in. But also, one thing that makes the Holy Paladin special is the Beacon of Light. Beacon of Light is basically, you can put it on one player, and health is transferred to that player. Well, healing is transferred to that player in 15, 50, and 100% increments, depending on what spell you're healing someone with. Mastery is not transferred to a beacon. And as a Holy Paladin, of course, all Paladins have seals. Holy Paladin, your seal of choice is going to be Seal of Insight. It gives you a haste boost, spellcasting haste boost. And it also gives you extra healing by 5%. Alright, Paladin's main healing spells are going to be as follows. I'm just going to go through them really quickly. I'm going to also be posting up more details of everything on the forums, but it's going to be Holy Shock. It's an instant cast spell, short cooldown that's affected by haste. It generates 1 Holy Power when used on any target, and it does apply the Mastery buff, and 50% of all healing done through Holy Shock is transferred to your beacon. Then we have Holy Light. Holy Light is just a slow casting spell, cheap on mana, it heals a single target, and 100% of that healing is transferred to Beacon. The initial heal from Holy Light does give Mastery, the Beacon does not. I just emphasize that again and again, that the Beacon does not give Mastery. Then we have Flash of Light, which is basically the Holy Paladin's quick, expensive heal. It's really quick, but it's expensive to do. It does give Mastery. It gives 50% transfer to Beacon. Pretty good heal when in emergencies. Only use it mainly if someone needs to get topped off really quickly, or say you're trying to generate Holy Power with cooldowns. During certain circumstances, it might be useful to use it just to get quick Holy Power. Then we have Divine Light. Divine Light is basically Holy Paladin's heavy heal that hits for a large period. That works good for large periods of damage. Just reading straight from the spellbook for the most part. It does apply a 50% transfer to Beacon, and it does apply Mastery. And then we have Holy Radiance, which is basically an amazing AoE heal for Holy Paladins. It goes off of, it hits the person you target, it does 10 yards healing to everyone around them for 50% of the amount that's healed. And it's a slow casting heal. It's a little expensive on mana, but also will generate Holy Power no matter who you cast it on. And I'll just go over the Holy Power spells really quickly. There's Word of Glory and Light of Dawn. Word of Glory is just a single target heal. It's more powerful heal for every charge of Holy Power that you have. It gives Mastery, and 50% of it is transferred through Beacon. And then there's Light of Dawn, which is basically the Holy Power AoE heal. It consumes up to 1 to 6 Holy Power, well, 1 to 3 Holy Power, and it heals 6 of your most injured people. It does apply Mastery, and only 15% of it, the healing done through Light of Dawn, is transferred to Beacon. Now just a few other spells that Holy Paladins use that are pretty amazing spells that other healers do not have is the hand spells. For example, the Hand of Freedom, amazing spell. It's a 25-second cooldown. It removes all movement impairing effects from someone and makes them immune to it for 6 seconds. Then we have the Hand of Salvation, which is basically, it drops threat for someone for about 10 seconds. It's got a 2-minute cooldown, but beginning of a fight, say you have a really strong DPS, it can definitely keep them from taking threat off a tank for a tank to get some threat built up. Then we also have Hand of Sacrifice, which is just an amazing 30% damage reduction on one person. The problem is it transfers damage to the paladin that cast it. But it can be glyphed to take that away, which makes it an amazing 30% cooldown that you could put on someone every 2 minutes. Then there's the Hand of Protection, which is basically a really amazing cooldown as well. It makes someone immune to physical damage and physical attacks for 10 seconds. It's got a 5-minute cooldown, but the advantage to it is it allows you to escape certain mechanics throughout fights and raids, for example. It's a very useful spell. It does cause a debuff called Forbearance, which prevents certain hand spells from getting cast again. And it's only Hand of Protection, Lay of Hands, and Divine... I forget what it's called. Divine Shield that gives that actual debuff of Forbearance. Now, as I just mentioned, Lay of Hands now. Lay of Hands, in short, is just an instant full health heal for a target in your raid. It has a 10-minute cooldown. Whoever you use it on will get instantly healed to full life. And it does cause Forbearance, but amazing life-saving cooldown for one of your tanks or DPS about to die, for example. And then, as I mentioned earlier, Divine Shield is basically the defensive cooldown that the Paladin has. Makes them immune to all damage for 8 seconds. It does reduce the damage you deal by 50% during that 8 seconds, but as a Holy Paladin, you shouldn't be worried about doing damage that much. I mean, unless you're just trying to have fun, but it's still amazing defensive cooldown. It has a 5-minute cooldown. It does cause Forbearance. And just survivability wise, Divine Shield is probably the most powerful survivability cooldown Paladin has. And then shortly after that, there's Divine Protection, which is a magical reduction of 40% damage for 10 seconds. It's got a 1-minute cooldown. It's a really short cooldown, 40% damage reduction from magic. Really awesome when trying to keep you from dying. Now let's go through the passive skills that Paladin has that basically can and cannot activate or proc during healing. I'm just going to go through the passives really quick. There's the Holy Insight, which is basically similar to all other healing passives, which increases the effectiveness of your healing. Your Word of Glory, your Eternal Flame, and Light of Dawn. Gives you a higher mana pool, lets you regain mana, and gives you basic hit rating for your basic attacks, such as your Judgments, your Holy Shock, and Denounces. Then there's also Daybreak. Let me find Daybreak. There it is. Alright. Daybreak is a sort of a passive ability that has a proc chance whenever you... Well, not proc chance. It does proc whenever you cast Holy Radiance on a party member. And it affects your Holy Shock. It can stack up to 2 times. Alright. Say you cast Holy Radiance. I'm just going to cast it on myself. 1, 2. There's Holy Radiance casted twice. I have Daybreak, 2 stacks. And what it's going to do is it's going to affect my Holy Shock. And the next time I use my Holy Shock, it's going to have a similar effect as my Holy Radiance. And it's going to spread an AoE heal to the people within 10 yards of the target my Holy Shock, similar to Holy Radiance. But with 1 stack, it's 75% of the Holy Shock heal that gets transferred. But with 2 stacks, it's 150% of the Holy Shock heal that gets transferred to people around your target of Holy Shock, which makes it really useful for AoE situations. Let's do it again real quick. There's 2 stacks of it. There you go. AoE healed with it. Now going back to the spell book. Now, Infusion of Light. I actually had an Infusion of Light proc as I was just showing that. And Infusion of Light is a really powerful passive as well. What it does is whenever your Holy Shock gets a critical effect, well, it crits, the cast time your next Holy Light, Divine Light, or Holy Radiance will be reduced by 1.5 seconds. Now, that doesn't seem to happen too often, but it actually happens a lot more than people would think, because Holy Shock, I failed to mention this as I was explaining it, actually has a 25% increased chance to crit whenever you use it. So say like my basic crit chance right now is 19.72%. Add 25% onto that, and that's what my crit chance for my Holy Shock is. I'll see if I can get it proc again. There it is. Infusion of Light. Reduce cast time, so I'm going to just cast Holy Radiance now. 0.8 second cast time of Holy Radiance with that. and that allows for a lot of possibilities of burst healing at times when it's needed. Alright, then last little passive that's important to Holy Paladins is going to be the Sanctity of Battle. Alright, melee haste affects lower the cooldown and global cooldown of your Holy Shock, Judgment, Crusader Strike, and Hammer Wrath. That's pretty important, more for the Holy Shock than the Judgment or Crusader Strike, unless you do specific talents. Then it would affect Judgment more, but the Holy Shock cooldown is amazing. It's your main generator of holy power, and it's your cheapest way to do it. Now let's go over the cooldowns that Holy Paladin has really quick. The big, more popular one is probably Avenging Wrath, just because it puts wings on you. Avenging Wrath, it just increases all your healing and damage caused by 20% for 20 seconds. I'll go ahead and use it after my Legendary Cloak goes away. There we go, 20% increased healing. It's a 3-minute cooldown. Pretty simple, it's very effective, awesome to have and use when you need it. Then there's Divine Favor. And Divine Favor increases your spell casting haste by 20% and your spell crit chance by 20%, which is pretty nice, especially when you're trying to get out those Holy Shocks, which means they'll crit more, which means the cast time of you'll get Effusion and Light procs, which means you get more spells out during that cooldown time with the higher crit chance, which means overall more healing output. It's an awesome cooldown to have. And then there's also Devotion Aura. Devotion Aura is basically our raid defensive cooldown. It does prevents silence and interrupt effects, and also reduces all spell damage taken for 20%. Which means on fights such as, a good example is Stalk, the dinosaur from Siege of Orgrimmar. He actually does, his little roar is actually interrupt, and Devotion Aura will prevent the raid from being interrupted. And that has been used by a lot of groups to utilize Paladins in general for that effect. And also there's Guardian of Ancient Kings, which thankfully in 5.4 Blizzard did change it to make it a whole lot better for everyone, all the Paladins, and they reduced its cooldown. It was 5 minutes, but now it's 3 minutes. And also the Guardian will heal all targets you heal for additional 100% of the amount healed, and it grants you 10% haste during its duration. It lasts for 15 seconds. This allows for a lot of healing to go out, especially if you prepare for it and are ready to just toss out a lot of heals at that time. Say burst damage is coming and you go through and you have everyone, so for example, you do the talent Eternal Flame and you have Eternal Flame going on people, your Guardian is going to do healing matching that, and it's going to be a lot of healing for the raid. And that's mostly it for the Paladin cooldowns, and just a few other spells that are useful to use as a support role as a healer is going to be the Hammer of Justice. It just stuns a target for 6 seconds. It's got 1 minute cooldown. Then there's Rebuke. I hope I'm saying it right. Rebuke, it's just a simple interrupt of a 4-second. Them not being able to cast from that school for 4 seconds. And then there's Denounce. Denounce doesn't commonly get used in raid situations, but it is useful, such as a PvP or just a heroic dungeon if you just want to try to get some extra damage. It's got a cast, does a little bit of damage, but the effect is probably more important than any damage. And the effect it does is when a target's hit by a Denounce, the critical effects, they can't crit for 4 seconds in short. So, such as PvP, it'd be extremely useful. If you see a Warlock doing Chaos Bolt, you can denounce them really quickly, and that Chaos Bolt won't crit. And that would really neutralize a lot of damage. And then there's Turn Evil. Turn Evil basically is just a fear for undead, aberrations, and demons. It can be talented to fear more than just those 3, but it's just a little short CC. It's got a 15-second cooldown, and it makes them run for 40 seconds. Alright, time for talents though. Alright, talents, I'm going to be going through there, pointing out the positives and negatives to each talent. And then when I'm done with that, I'm going to basically show my preference to talents that I use for most times healing raids. But I'm going to go through all of them though. All of them are usually equally and have been proven to be useful in all fights for the most part. They all have their ups and downs. But I'll go through all the talent style. Speed of Light. First the tier 1's all about movement speed. And Speed of Light is basically a short 45-second cooldown for a 70% movement speed boost for 8 seconds. And then there's Long Arm of the Law. And whenever you use a Judgment, it gives you a movement speed of 45% for 3 seconds. Then Pursuit of Justice, it gives you basically a static movement speed boost and 5% additional movement speed for each charge of Holy Power you have. Now, as a Holy Paladin, I'll admit you're normally not going to be having that much Holy Power and moving around a lot. There's a chance you will be, but commonly you're going to be spending Holy Power a lot whenever you have it. So I don't know if counting that extra 5% you get for each charge of Holy Power is good, but in my opinion, it's not really worth it. I've always personally preferred Speed of Light myself. Just having that cooldown to have when you need to run away quickly, get away from a mechanic, or dodge anything, get to a tank that's on range. It's just proved to be very useful. And then the tier 30 talents is all about sort of CC and stuns. And stun being Fist of Justice. It basically reduces the cooldown on your Hammer of Justice by 30 seconds. And honestly, that's my preferred one. Repentance is basically just another CC similar to Sap or Polymorph. It incapacitates them for a minute. And then Turn Evil, it just allows it to affect humanoids and beasts. But Fist of Justice is my personal preference, because it can be used in some raid battles. Such as someone gets mind controlled, you can stun them with it. It's just my personal preference. But all three of them are really good. And now time for the big one. This is probably the most controversy pick for all Holy Paladins, is the 45 talents. And they're all very good. Selfless Healer. It basically, whenever you use a Judgment, your Judgments will also generate Holy Power. And it will reduce the cast time of your Flashlight, Divine Light, and Holy Radiance by 35% per stack. And make it heal for 20% more for each stack. Which is just amazing. Alright. I mean, it allows you to basically use those spells more often and faster with just doing Judgments. And it also reduces the mana cost of those spells. So if you're having mana problems, Selfless Healer might be the way to go, just because it lets you generate more Holy Power, which means you're using more Holy Power spells, which means you're not using mana, and you're able to use your bigger spells with reduced mana cost. Then Eternal Flame. Eternal Flame used to be really ridiculous. As in, it would be the only pick for Holy Paladins, in short. Everyone would pick Eternal Flame for raid healing. And the reason it did was because it basically makes your Word of Glory into a 30-second hot. It still does the initial healing, but adds on extra healing as a hot heal over time that continues for 30 seconds. The heal over time used to apply Mastery, but Blizzard fixed that and it no longer applies Mastery. But to make up for that, they increase the overall healing that the hot does. This is still a very good talent to pick. The initial heal still does Mastery, but the actual hot does not. But the amount of healing the hot does makes it still more than worth it in raid situations. And the last but not least is Sacred Shield. Sacred Shield used to be really not that well for Holy Paladins, because it used to be only on one target, and it would absorb for a certain amount every time frame of 4. Mine is 4.64 seconds. But they changed it for Holy, and they made it basically there is no target limit. But it has 3 charges, and every 10 seconds, 1 charge will come back up. Meaning, I think at sometimes I could get possibly around 4 to 5 actual Sacred Shields out on the raid at a time. And it's a very good absorb. I mean, mine is at 49k heals, absorbs every 4.64 seconds. And that's just a lot of damage. If there's damage going out on the raid consistently, that's a lot of absorbs going out. And it's guaranteed to basically, even if someone's full health, it's going to absorb damage from them. It's situational, honestly. I mean, I don't have healing mana problems as much, so I won't use Selfless Healer. I end up preferring Eternal Flame just because you can have it on everyone getting healed, and it works just really well. It still works amazing. But I was using Sacred Shield at the beginning of the actual raid tier at the beginning, and it worked just as well. It's just I've been playing with Eternal Flame for so long that I ended up just wanting to go back to it. So Eternal Flame is my personal preference. And now the next tier of talents is more support and survivability. Alright, Hand of Purity is a very popular choice just because it allows you to put a static 10% damage reduction on someone, but more importantly is reduces the damage of harmful periodic effects, meaning dots, by 80% for 6 seconds. Meaning, say your best example is PvP and someone puts Devouring Plague on your party member. You can put Hand of Purity on them and the Devouring Plague damage is reduced by 80%. That's just easiest way I can think to explain it. It's a very good 30-second cooldown, and it's even just the 10% damage reduction alone is worth it to put on tanks, but that's 10% less damage you're had to heal. Then there's Unbreakable Spirit. Unbreakable Spirit is also very good if you're having troubles with survivability, because it reduces the cooldown on your survivability skills and also your Lay of Hands. Your Divine Shield and your Divine Protection cooldown reduced by 50%. Means you can do that. You can have a 40% magic reduction more. You can Divine Shield yourself to prevent all damage going on you more. And Lay of Hands more often. Lay of Hands is probably the most useful thing on that list. Meaning every 5 minutes you can heal someone to full life. And then there's Clemency. Clemency just allows you to use your hand spells more often. Your Hand of Freedom, Hand of Protection, Hand of Sacrifice, and Hand of Salvation. It basically gives them 2 charges, and each charge has the cooldown respective of the original spell. Out of these 3, my preference is Clemency. And that's just because of Hand of Sacrifice. I'll explain why more when I get the glyphs. Now, it's time for the tier 75 talents, and these are just more effects your healing cooldowns. Except for Divine Purpose, it gives you another passive and proc. Alright. Holy Avenger, it just gives you another 2-minute cooldown, meaning any ability that generates holy power, such as your Holy Shock, your Holy Radiance, your Flash of Light or Divine Light, when you cast it on your Beacon of Light target, it'll generate 3 charges of holy power, and all of those skills heal for 30% more. So, it's a very powerful cooldown. It can heal for a lot in burst, or prepare if you're doing Eternal Flame blankets. You can basically get that blanket out on the whole raid, and it'll be ticking for a lot, and your mastery that you put on people will be pretty high. So, I mean, it's a very good cooldown. Sanctified Wrath, they ended up changing it for Holy just a bit. Sanctified Wrath affects your Avenging Wrath. It makes it last 50% longer, which means instead of 20 seconds, it lasts for 30 seconds. And for Holy, it reduces the cooldown of your Holy Shock by 50%. Right now, my Holy Shock cooldown is 5.1 seconds. So, give my Holy Shock a 2-point-something second cooldown. And would also increase its chance to crit by 20%, which means I get more Infusions of Light, which means I get more basically instant cast heavy heals. And then there's Divine Purpose. Divine Purpose is pretty popular, just for the reason is it's constant. It basically allows any abilities that cost holy power have a 25% chance to cause a Divine Purpose effect. And Divine Purpose basically lets you cast another holy power skill and not cost anything to cast. So say I cast Word of Glory, Divine Purpose procs, I can cast another Word of Glory for free. And it acts as if it had 3 holy power. It's pretty powerful. I mean, it can proc a lot, but it's just a chance thing. Sometimes it won't proc for a while. I've had it proc 5 or 6 times in a row. It's 25% chance and it can go anytime. All these though, I prefer a Holy Avenger. I just enjoy having that extra cooldown that's up every 2 minutes. And last but not least is the last tier of talents, Holy Prism, Light's Hammer, Execution Sentence. Alright, Holy Prism is a very powerful heal that affects the raid. It's a unique, I'm trying to think of a way to describe it, but it's just unique as in this. For it to heal your raid, you need to attack an enemy with it. So say if I wanted to heal the 5 people with it, because that's how many people it heals, I have to attack an enemy. So say there's a boss, I'm in a heroic dungeon, I have to attack the boss for Holy Prism to effectively heal my raid. Which is fine, I mean, generally, it's a good spell. I actually end up using macros for it. I'll use a Slash Assist macro, which I'll show. And I usually assist the tank, and I target whatever the tank's targeting. I use Holy Prism, it heals 5 people. It's a very powerful heal, though. Light's Hammer. Light's Hammer is just, it's like similar to a mushroom on the ground that druids can do. It basically allows you to put something on the ground. It's a big old hammer, and everything within 10 yards is affected by that hammer. And for allies, it heals, and enemies, it does damage and slows them. It does apply mastery, and only 15% of it transfers to beacon. Same thing with Holy Prism. I apologize for not mentioning that. And then Execution Sentence. Execution Sentence is a single target heal. It heals for a lot, but it has a 1 minute cooldown. If, say, a tank's taking high damage during a boss effect, Execution Sentence most likely can save that tank, just because how powerful of a heal it is. And 15% of it is transferred to beacon. I mean, it's just a heavy hitting heal. But out of these three, I honestly personally prefer Light's Hammer. That's just preference. I mean, during sometimes Holy Prism is better, but if at any part of a fight, if the group is stacked up, it's just going to do a lot of healing and put a lot of mastery on the raid. Now glyphs. Alright. Just real glyphs that basically affect Holy Paladins, what I'm going to be going over. I'm going to mention other glyphs that aren't as important, like such as a glyph for Avenging Wrath. Just remember you have that cooldown active, it heals you for 1% of your maximum health. I mean, that's just nice, but there's a lot better glyphs you can have to, as a healer, to better support the raid. Beacon of Light is one of those glyphs. It basically removes the global cooldown on Beacon of Light, meaning you can switch it between your tanks better and it doesn't slow you down as much. Blessed Life is also a good cooldown. Whenever you get stunned, you have a 50% chance of generating 1 holy power. Denounce, your holy shock's reduced the cast time of your next denounce by 0.5 seconds, and it stacks up to 3 times. I mean, making it to the point where your denounce is an instant cast. I mean, that's more of a PvP, or if you want to try to do damage. I mean, I've said in guild chat before that I enjoy doing damage as a holy paladin, and using that glyph, you can actually do some effective damage in a fight. The glyph of Divine Plea, and just makes your Divine Plea, reduces the cooldown on it, but makes it give you 50% less mana. Which reminds me, I didn't go over Divine Plea, and that would have been bad. Divine Plea is basically the main mana regain for Holy Paladins. Regenerate mana equal to 135% of your spirit, meaning the more spirit you have, the more static spirit, meaning it doesn't include any temporary buffs, flask, trinket procs. It's just your static spirit that you have on your gear. For me right now, I have 14k, so my Divine Plea is going to give me mana equal to 135% of that every 3 seconds for 9 seconds. But it's guaranteed to be no less than 12% mana regained, which still makes it amazing. It's an awesome mana regain, but it's the only one Holy Paladins really have, and it does have a 2-minute cooldown. Unless you glyph it, then it has a 1-minute cooldown, but only gives you back half the mana. Divine Protection is also a good glyph. It makes your Divine Protection spell only reduce the magic damage by 20%, but also gives you a 20% physical reduction, which means it's basically, in short, all damage by 20%. Divinity is a really good cooldown as well. I mean, not cooldown, but glyph, just for the fact is, it makes your Lay of Hands give you back 10% mana. So say you're nearing the end of the fight, you have this glyph, tank's about to drop, you're low on mana, you lose Lay of Hands on the tank gets healed up, and it gives you 30k mana, which allows you to keep healing. Flash of Light's also really effective because it allows your Flash of Light heal. So for really bad situations, say your tank's going down, it allows you to Flash of Light your tank, and the next heal that goes on that tank from you has a 10% increase to it. So say you're doing another Flash of Light, the second Flash of Light will heal for 10% more. And here's the glyph I mentioned, the Hand of Sacrifice glyph. No longer does damage transfer back to you. Meaning, whenever you do the talent, Clemency, in short, it gives you 30% damage reductions you can put on a tank or raid member, which I find just to be so useful. I mean, during certain situations where a tank's just taking damage, I generally find myself putting it on tanks, and it can definitely save them. Holy Shock, it decreases the healing of your Holy Shock, but increases its damage. That's for the whole damage part I mentioned for Holy Paladins. Illumination. This is a unique glyph that I personally will be experimenting more with, but But in short, it makes your Holy Shocks critical hits grant you 1% mana return. But your Holy Insight returns 10% less mana. Now, if you remember, the Holy Insight is your static healing passive that basically gives you extra mana regain. Alright? Now, overall, to my knowledge from what I've seen, this glyph is more powerful the less spirit you have. Meaning, the less spirit you have, the less actually mana regain you lose from the actual negativity of this actual glyph. So that 10% less mana is not as much the lower spirit you have. But that 1% mana, it could end up becoming more. So, I mean, it's all situational. I mean, I recommend if you're just starting out, that might be a glyph to get started with until you get some more spirit. And then there's the Light of Dawn. It basically makes your Light of Dawn, instead of 6 targets, it heals 4 targets. But it heals those 4 targets for 25% more. Protector of the Innocent. This is an amazing glyph for your own survivability. Whenever you use Word of Glory to heal another target, it heals you for 20% of the amount. So, being a Holy Paladin, you use Word of Glory on other people all the time. Meaning, you're consistently going to be healing yourself. And then Glyph of Word of Glory, this doesn't really matter too much. It just increases your damage by 3% per holy power spent after you cast Word of Glory or Eternal Flame on a friendly target. This is a glyph I don't have yet, but it is actually a useful one for Holy Paladins. Devotion Aura no longer affects the raid. It only affects you, but its cooldown is reduced by 60 seconds, meaning it's a 1 minute cooldown that keeps you from getting interrupted and reduces magic damage you take. I mean, I see that being more purposeful for PvP in a raid situation or a dungeon. It's more useful to affect everyone. And then there's a glyph for Divine Shield. It removes harmful effects. When you remove harmful dots or anything with Divine Shield, it heals you for 10% for each effect moved. Those are all the major glyphs. I mean, there's maybe only one minor glyph that might be useful, and that's the glyph of Righteous Retreat. And that just makes you Hearthstone faster. And then Winged Vengeance, that just makes your Avenging Wrath have 4 wings instead of 2. I just like the way that looks. That's just me, though. But I'll show you my preference of glyphs now. I use Protector of the Innocent just to help me sustain more life. Hand of Sacrifice to allow me that 2 cooldowns for Hand of Sac. And usually I switch back and forth. Sometimes I'll use Flash of Light, and then sometimes I use Glyph of Divinity. Both of them are really good to use. And Beacon of Light is also one I switch back and forth to. But I always try to have these 2 on. And say some fights such as Tordos, I will use a Glyph of Divine Protection to help me protect myself from physical damage. But for, say, I'm about to do a test on Proving Grounds, I'm going to go use a Glyph of Divinity. Just because I get that mana back. In short, that's basically everything there is. All the spells and all the talents for Holy Paladins. I'm just going to go through stats really quick and gemming and reforging, and then I'm just going to do a couple demonstrations. And if anyone wants to join me or ask questions after I go through the stats, reforges, and enchanting, I'm more than happy to answer them. Alright, stats. Spirit as a Holy Paladin is your best friend. I mean, Holy Paladins are a little, in my opinion, healer side, have the weakest mana regain. Such as, say, Druids, they have a lot of instant free cast spells. Shamans have Water Shield. Priests have Shadow Fiend or Mindbender and Helm. Monks, I don't even want to talk about Monks' mana regain, it's just ridiculous. Paladins, all we have is Divine Plea. As awesome as it is, as a 2-minute cooldown. And a lot of our spells cost 20, 10, 20k mana. And that can really add up a lot. So Spirit is very important as a Holy Paladin. Until you're comfortable with your mana, all your gems should be more Spirit focused. I mean, I'll admit, if you look at mine, I gem more for Intellect than Spirit. That's just because I'm comfortable with my mana right now. I have enough gear to make that happen. Alright? Then Mastery, of course. Mastery is just an increase of all your HPS because of the absorb it puts on a raid. Haste. Haste affects the Holy Shock cooldown, and it affects your spell cast time, and it affects how many ticks, say, your Eternal Flame or your Sacred Shield does. So haste is also just as important. And crit Crit's probably the least important one out of those two for common builds right now. Just because, I mean, say Holy Shock already gets that 25% static crit, and that's the only benefit to crits other than just double healing. Alright? And the two most common builds out, rating wise, on the top raters is going to be a haste build or a mastery build. And in short, you put in spirit, and then you either stack your haste or you stack your mastery. I roll with a haste build. Mastery build is also very good. I'm going to be linking some web addresses where people have done the math, they typed out all the numbers, and both of them are proving just about equal in overall healing factors. I think Mastery might barely pull ahead by a minuscule amount, but overall they prove to be pretty much equal. And I personally, as I said earlier, I roll with a haste build. I enjoy the quick cast times. It allows me to heal people quicker, and it allows my hots to tick faster. And it reduces the cooldown on my Holy Shock. So as you'll see, I am reforged and gemmed for haste. And of course Spirit. In short, the way I gem is, I don't know if it's unique or anything, but red gems I put Intellect in. Blue gems I put Purified Imperial Amethyst, which gives me Intellect and Spirit. Yellow gems I put Intellect Haste. So I mean, basic gemming and reforging is for haste. Spirit then haste. Enchants. The big enchant is probably the weapon enchant. I use Jade Spirit just because I enjoy the intellect boost. Some people like Windsong. Windsong is also really good just because it does give your secondary stat a good boost and it procs all the time. So I mean, at some points I'd be saying whenever I did use Windsong, I would have all three of my crit, my mastery, and haste buffed through Windsong. So it has a lot of uptime. All the other enchants, you can probably sort of enchant more for intellect, but some enchants people go for side stats such as wrist. I believe you can enchant for a side stat. I enchant for intellect. Chest, I use my all stats. At one point I did use the spirit enchant to give myself extra spirit. Cloak, intellect. Shoulder, I just use intellect and crit. Gloves, I use the haste because that's what my main build is. Pants, intellect, spirit. Boots, I use the mastery and minor run speed increase just because that minor run speed increase, to me that's just a no-brainer. That's my opinion though. Other people do enchant their boots differently. I just like that extra run speed. In short, that's basically all the stats, gemming and reforging. I know it's probably not the best explanation of it, but I think I went over it pretty well. Let's see if I got anything else on my list. That's pretty much it. Does anyone have any questions they want to ask before I just go through Proving Grounds? Anyone have any questions at all? Yeah, what's up?
What was the glyph that had was the cow, was it a glyph on it? Someone suggested I did that in my forge, like, to help generate some DPM, so that's well.
The Rebook?
Yeah, what's one that, was it a cow or a glyph that altered the timing on that?
I don't believe there was one for Rebuke. Let me check. I could have missed it because I might have overlooked it just because it's for red. But I don't think Rebuke, the actual interrupt, was affected for it. I know if you're trying to increase your damage as a Holy Paladin because you want DPS, I know the talents I personally pick whenever I feel like DPSing as Holy, which surprisingly is quite often just because I have fun doing it. I normally use Harsh Words just because it lets your Holy, your Word of Glory become an actual damaging spell. I also Denounce. There you go, Denounce. Yep, Denounce. There's a glyph right here. Glyph of Denounce. That's your Holy Shocks. Reduce the cooldown on it. Yeah. It's not too bad. Holy Paladin DPS is very unique though. I did do a lot of work. I managed to get silver Proving Grounds as a Holy Paladin DPS, but it's not the best. It's really not good at all overall as DPS. The only reason I'm probably able to do it in dungeons is just my gear. But any other questions?
Well, that's right after this, the roadblock, the kind of thing that Forge Master, you're attracted to them. Or if it's close and you're dealing with,
Yeah.
how did you go about it? Did you build it slowly? Did you switch to direct? What did you do?
Honestly, I switched to Ret for that. Holy just could not do the DPS you need to finish that fight effectively. I mean, Ret has a chance, the capability of doing so much more burst damage than Holy does. Unless you just completely outgear it, you're going to need to do it as Ret, I regret to say. I mean, I'm at 558 item level right now, and I can barely keep up with DPS in dungeons that are probably around 480, 500 item level. That's sort of what I meant by outgear. I might barely be able to do it right now with my current gear set. Sure. Event? Oh, absolutely. It gives me a chance to set up my stuff for the room grounds. I personally did not know that, so there you go. Keep heal the other person, heal the actual the blacksmith. Are you able to do it as holy? That's phenomenal.
I don't remember since the whole experience that for the healers the DPS, a holy DPS that's an expansion. So which one does it want to use? I was
No.
that one for me.
I'm obviously did more research on it. I didn't even think about more doing it on holy. I do have a ret spec, but I'm for my raid group. I am the off hills that goes DPS from time to time. So I already had a ret spec. It was no big deal for me to switch to rec and just go ahead down it. But hearing other people do it is fully possible to do it as holy. All right. Any other questions? I'll take the silence as a no. I'm just going for people who are watching live stream. I'm just going to do some. I'm just going to do Healer Silver just to show the basics of my build. I want to keep it simple. Oto is the tank. Normally in a fight or party, I'd stack up your holy power, but I didn't have much time to do it. But holy power stays with you throughout a fight. So the fight begins, and say you have 5 holy power, it stays with you. You keep that 5 holy power. You will see me using my stuns, such as Proving Grounds as an example, how I'll be supportive as a Holy Paladin. And as you see, I just put Eternal Flame on the tank, and then I put it on myself, meaning that the tank's getting the actual beacon effect of 2 Eternal Flames ticking. And then I'm just going to do a Holy Radiance around the party since I have a Fusion Light proc. It's going to put a little mastery on everyone. Not much, but it's a little bit. Up this guy, I'm going to be standing here. I have Reboot as my 1 button, so I can help interrupt this guy. Interrupted. That's just me trying to support the group. And that guy does large damage if he gets his cast out. I mean, so if I can interrupt it, I want to interrupt it. Right now, I'm getting myself, the rogue, and the tank, and my hammer, so I may have threw that down to make up for the damage going out. Those 2 are next to each other, so I will use Holy Radiance to heal those 2, since they do stand next to each other. Alright, everyone stopped off. You just gotta be really careful watching your mana. Right now, I did Proving Grounds just because it does nerf my gear, so I'm actually just showing technique more than just me having a lot of gear right now.
What's the fastest way that you were going to have the ticking cooldowns?
The ticking cooldowns. I believe that is Forte Exorcist. I'd have to look exactly which actual add-on it is. I have a lot of add-ons I use for different things. I think it is Forte Exorcist. It's very useful. I just use it to able to quick glance and have an idea when my cooldowns are coming back up.
Yeah.
Yep, right here.
Yeah.
Yep, got it. Yeah, after this, I'll go ahead and go through all my add-ons and I'll show any macros I use. Just go ahead and stun them, get some damage off the tank. Next wave. Another bug, it looks like. I need to interrupt, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, there it goes. Interrupted it. Kept that damage off the raid. I mean, Holy Paladins are very versatile. Not many other healers, except maybe like a monk, have the capability to interrupt or stun as the Holy Paladin does. Now I'm just going to use Holy Light since there ain't that much damage on them. Top them off. I don't want to waste mana, so I'm just going to health stone myself up. Once again, put out stun. No damage going on tank during stuns since it's stunned. And I've managed to maintain good enough mana that my Divine Please back up, so it should almost top me off on mana. Tank's taking damage, so I'm going to go ahead and use my hand to sacrifice on him. Then, of course, the Dispel. And Dispel for Paladin, since I didn't name that, it's called Cleanse. Oh, tank's dropping quick. So I'm going to be ready to use my flashlight if need to. Of course, put out another stun so you can gain damage. I'll go ahead this next wave or the last wave. I'll go ahead and pop cooldowns and show how they work out, since I haven't really needed to pop them yet. Alright, let's see here. Yep, I should need one here. Alright, he's doing big. He's going to do a bunch of fire if I'm not mistaken. Yep, so I'm just going to go pop Devo Aura. Save some damage from going out in the raid at one point. At least save one person. Because he does hit really hard with his fireball. I'm going to go ahead and use my hammer again. What's really cool about the hammer, though, is it works really well with your Guardian of Ancient Kings. You're going to watch my Guardian just start freaking out here in a second. The Hammer Light, I just like to watch my Guardian of Ancient Kings freak out, but it does double the healing your Hammer Light does. And Hammer does do some decent healing. Yeah, Light's Hammer. I keep calling it Hammer of Light. My apologize. Yeah, that's true. Hammer of Wrath. I didn't even know about that one, but I like it. Oh, I know. Alright, my Divine Please back up. I'm just going to get top off my mana. Use it off cooldowns, so I am in a damage environment. This is last wave. I'm going to pop my cooldowns. Use Divine Light. Light of Dawn. Since it does apply Mastery. We've lusted. As you see, my Holy Avenger is giving me Holy Power, a full stack of Holy Power. Each time I'm using a spell, it generates it. I got the entire raid blanketed in Eternal Flames right now. You just see green numbers all over my screen from just the ticks going on them. My Light's Hammer's back. Use it again. Stun. Use your Judgment just for fun. Hammer Wrath, once again just for fun. And it's down to the last enemy. And that's just a simple demonstration. I mean, probably I should have just done gold or endless so I could show better actual cooldowns, but that was just short silver, proving grounds, as you saw. Effectively try and use mana, keep my mana up. I use Divine Plea off cooldown. The moment I hit 250k mana, your target aim for the Divine Plea use is going to depend on your spirit. Right now, if I'm in my full gear without the item level reduction, I think my Divine Plea gets me back almost 60 to 80k mana back. So I use it closer to 230k mana. But, I mean, right now, usually on average, 250k is a safe bet. But you're going to keep casting more than likely. And it'll help you get back up top mana. The more often you use a cooldown, the more often it's up. I don't know if that's understood, but, I mean, having a cooldown sitting there and not getting used is a waste. So, I mean, use it if it needs to be used. If there's damage going out, don't save cooldowns as a Holy Paladin. We have a bunch of them. We have 3 cooldowns, all with 3 minutes. I mean, unless you know damage is coming up, use a cooldown. People are getting hurt. I mean, it saves mana overall and lets you heal more effectively. I'm actually going to run a heroic dungeon. I might just have some fun and do some damage in it, show people damage dealing as a Holy Paladin. Any of y'all want to join me? I'll queue as DPS if one of y'all want to queue as healer. We can all just go together. Okay. Yep. Alright, I misspelled your name. Can you whisper me by some chance just to help me out? That works. Alright. And also just for the fact is on Proving Grounds, Spirit Flask proves to be more useful than Intellect. That's the reason I use Spirit Flask, in case anyone's going to ask that. There it is. Alright, let's see here. Let me switch my glyphs around. There we go. And we'll just go ahead and queue as is. Heroic Dungeon. Have a little fun. Are you going to be focusing on healing, or do you want me to heal and DPS? Hawkeye. How long is this queue? Hogs, are you there? No, okay. There we go. Oh wow, 10 minutes. I'm probably going to stop recording for 10 minutes and in fact change a couple things. Oh, we both queued as healer. Wait a minute, what? I thought I had my DPS check mark. What? I don't know what's going on. Man, we both queued as DPS? Oh, you did? Okay. Then one of them was going to queue as a healer to speed it up. I'm just going to queue as both. Okay, that sounds fair. Good. Yeah, that's just fun. I can pull it off pretty well just because I do have enough gear to where if I do need to put healing on people, I know I can, but I honestly didn't change my talents, so my talents are still fine. I just changed my glyphs. And glyphs don't make a drastic difference on just a heroic dungeon nowadays. Heroic dungeons, everyone out gears them. Not that you shouldn't go in with a full intent of killing and downing the heroic dungeon, but nowadays they've become more of just, I don't know, it's sad. They're not really that heroic anymore. Let's Still 6 minute wait. Frick.
No, I didn't really realize that with that second shield as red. But I was just thinking about it and using it on my holy build. But second shield seems to be a major factor or something fascinating.
It is nice. As a ret paladin, I personally, whenever I do ret in a raiding environment, I still prefer selfless healer, just because your judgments are part of your rotation, and the amount of healing that can go out with selfless healer is huge. When you get a full charge flash of light, it definitely can save people. But that's just my healer mentality, as in I try to use it on other people.
Oh, look at Coca-Cola down there. Wants to run a good dungeon here like a tank and DPS. That'd be good for us.
Sure.
And just to build.
Yep, I'm asking for an invite from him right now. Oh, never mind. I guess he's leaving his group right now. I'm confused. No matter. I'll form group. There we go.
There we go. Well, this will be fun.
Yeah. Ooh, tank. That should make it instant, right? I'd be fine with a group of 5 Holy Paladins going. I think that'd be fun. I'm gonna get that together sometime. Just 5 Holy Paladins doing heroic dungeons. That's just because, to me, it seems fun. Probably not productive in the least, but it'll be fun to do. Alright, this place. As I said before, I'm just going to stack up my holy power. Drink back up before we start pulling. Alright, let's do this. Well, someone's asking if I'm here. I am here. Oh, I won't lie. Sorry, I think I've been ignoring my whispers. My apologies about that if I've ignored you. Well, I just meant whispers. I've got whispers from quite a few people, I think. I just use lay of hands on you for fun. That's because I wasn't paying attention. I didn't want you dying. Okay. Someone asked me to help with administrative stuff real quick. Let me be nice. Oop, I healed that person. See? 30k DPS, I'm a champion. But I'll do more on the boss. Easy enough. I mean, if anyone does have any other questions they want to ask me, I'd be more than happy to answer anything right now. And right now I'm just having a little fun in dungeon, healing and DPSing. I'm going to be editing and chopping up the video to arrange it more appropriately. I probably won't have this whole DPS part on the video. I'll just have to edit it and do a few things on that before I actually, to my knowledge, all the boot camps will be on YouTube. I know I plan on posting it on my personal YouTube channel, just because I've been slacking on my YouTube channel. I don't have many healing videos up at the moment. Yep. Add-ons. Add-ons and macros. I think the only macro I actually really end up using would be my macro for Holy Prism, and that's just simple slash assist and then type in one of your tank's names, but I'll show everyone what it looks like. As a healing add-on, I do use Voodoo, and I'm willing to share any of my settings or anything with anyone who needs them to, and try to help them get them working. I know, for the love of us, we couldn't get it working. I also use Bartender, which is how I got my bars looking the way they do. And then, as you see, Skada in my bottom left corner.
Beware.
As you see, I popped my Divine Protection there just to protect me. Getting the extra damage that he did. I threw my hammer down just to give me some healing because I'm standing in poop right now. It's not what you normally want to do. I just want to emphasize that I have a lot of gear. I've been self-healing myself for a while. As I said, heroic dungeons aren't very heroic anymore. Going down.
kept the same. So it sounded like they just transcribed the same.
Just transmog the same. Yeah, he's got the Timeless Helm, which is actually a really nice helm. Sadly, no meta socket though. But that's not my place to judge. It's probably expensive gearing people up and changing out meta sockets all the time. There we go. Got my holy power. It is depressing how easy heroic dungeons are these days. Ooh, that was a nice little crit hill for 330 something K. Do it now? I just jumped. I bubbled myself and jumped down. Ooh, they're starting without you. Oh, you're here. Never mind. I wonder who all is getting any cannons. I don't think anyone's in the cannon. I'll do it. This guy's going to drop really quick. Was it? Congrats. Oh, wow. Yep, there's that. Now time for add-ons and macros. I'll go over to macro first since there's only one of them. I think I have more than one macro definitely in my book though. Let's see here. Macro right here is assist prism. Raylos was my main tank, so I do a slash assist Raylos. What that does is make me target whatever he's targeting. Then I do a slash cast space holy prism, and then I hit enter again and do a slash target last target no spaces. That way it's almost instant. Say I'm trying to heal myself, I cast that. It's going to basically stay targeted on me the whole time. Yeah. Okay.
So, out of all the available premiums that could be given out to the person, they're using some of it to damage the box. When it could be resulting in a target, say, a pig, and then none of it gets put to healing or damage a lot of it likely to
Negative, Ghost Rider. That's not how the ability works. Yep. Unless they changed it completely, alright. Sends a beam of light towards a target, turning them into a prism for holy energy. If an enemy is the prism, they take 78k damage, holy damage, and radiate 52k healing to 5 nearby allies. If an ally is the prism, they are healed for 78k and radiate 52k damage to 5 nearby enemies. So that's the way. That's why I do assist. Normally, I'll hit the range and the melee and tanks, but sometimes it does reach out and hit range DPS or healers as well. All right, that's probably the only macro I commonly use. Add-ons. Let's see what I got here. Alcoholics not needed. CRC rate, that's red. I don't know what that store is. Angela's. The battle text you solve, all the green numbers, that's max scrolling text. Prats for chats. Quartz is, I use Quartz as a cast bar just because it allows me to see the latency differences in it, and it just works pretty well for me. Sexy maps, Gata, then tidy plates, Titan panel, then TomTom, and Forte Exorcist. Let me see here. Let me see what all I got shown on Forte Exorcist. Yeah, cooldown timer. That's it. It is my cooldown timer. Auto hide when there's no cooldowns. I can help people set this up if they need to, but enable it. I have it set to, I think, yeah, the time frame for it is, I haven't looked this in a bit. Time scale 120 seconds. As you see, say right here, 2 minutes. As it gets shorter, 6 seconds, 30 seconds, 10 seconds, 5 seconds. It gets closer and closer as the cooldown gets shorter. And that's probably most of the cooldowns I use besides Voodoo. And of course, Voodoo. And Voodoo lets you set up all your spells with mouse clicks, and it gives me these spiffy raid frames that you can set up with buffs, debuffs. Yeah, I'm willing to go more in depth to anyone who wants to learn any of these add-ons and try to attempt to teach you. I'm not the best at teaching them, but I can hopefully get you started with them. I say that loosely because of just our situation. Absolutely, I'll try to get a few other people who also might know it more than I, and maybe try to get maybe a round table or boot camp going with healing add-ons. But in short, that's mostly everything I do as a Holy Paladin. I mean, I showed you Proving Grounds. I mean, basically how I behave as a Holy Paladin. Okay. But I mean, if anyone has any questions, Trulamir, you just message me in game, message me on the forums. I'll be putting the post of the Holy Paladin Bootcamp. Basically everything I said, I actually, even though I messed it up a ton, just because I don't like reading, but I do have a script and everything I wrote, giving details, saying what all abilities do what, all my macros, all my add-ons, giving more information on that on script. I will be posting that in the Holy Paladin portion. Well, just the Paladin portion on the forums. And hopefully I'll make sure that I'll try to ensure everyone knows that where the YouTube video is that they plan on posting. I imagine the CTR group, they'll be talking about that on the show, or at least CTR2 will be talking about where they're putting it, all the YouTube files at, because I am recording this and I will be editing it. But definitely, if anyone has any questions, just ask away. But I'm about to end the stream and recording right now. Last minute questions, anyone? Let me see if anyone's been typing in the actual chat on the live stream. I don't think anyone's been typing in the chat though. Guess I just missed it. It's always possible. Oh my god, I'm horrible at typing. Let's see, any questions? Nope, then I am done. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for being polite and interacting with me. And it's very appreciative about the talking about the Forge part. I never attempted holy DPS on it, so that's very informative. Helps out people who just focus on one build at a time.